Hi, welcome to our channel Programming of Mind, where we accelerate your knowledge with concise, from high-value book summaries. Let's begin. The Path of Knowledge, Understanding the Eternal Truths. After introducing Arjuna to the nature of the soul and the importance of performing his duty without attachment to the results, Krishna continues his teachings. In this part, the focus shifts toward understanding the deeper, more esoteric aspects of reality, knowledge of the eternal truths that govern the universe. Krishna seeks to provide Arjuna with the wisdom to transcend his personal limitations and embrace a broader, more universal understanding of life, death, and the nature of existence. This section delves into the concept of knowledge as a path to freedom, where understanding one's true nature, the workings of the universe, and the role of divine guidance can lead to liberation from the cycle of birth and death. The role of knowledge in spiritual liberation. Krishna begins this section by emphasizing the importance of knowledge. Knowledge, or jnana, is the means by which one can transcend ignorance and realize their true self. He speaks to Arjuna about the power of understanding the essence of life, the soul, and the universe. Krishna explains to Arjuna, there is no knowledge greater than the realization of the self. Through understanding the self, one transcends all dualities and attains peace. Knowledge of the self brings liberation. This teaching is central to the entire Gita. The self, in this context, refers not to the ego or the individual personality, but to the deeper, eternal aspect of being, the Atman. According to Krishna, the knowledge of the self is the highest form of wisdom, for it reveals that the soul is eternal, beyond the reach of time, and unshaken by the changing circumstances of the physical world. This insight is liberating because it helps one understand that the fluctuations of the mind, emotions, desires, fears, and attachments are temporary. By understanding the eternal nature of the soul, one gains the ability to detach from the emotional and mental turbulence that often governs one's actions. Arjuna, having been paralyzed by doubt and fear, must now learn to recognize that his true essence is unchanging and that the battle before him is only a fleeting moment in his eternal existence. The difference between the body and the soul. Krishna continues by further elaborating on the difference between the body and the soul. He explains that the body is like a vessel or a garment, which the soul inhabits temporarily. The body ages, decays, and eventually dies, but the soul remains unchanged, moving from one body to the next. Krishna says, just as a person puts on new clothes and discards old ones, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. This comparison helps Arjuna understand that the death of the body is not the end of the soul's journey. Death, then, should not be feared because it is simply a natural process of change. For Arjuna, this realization is pivotal, as it helps him move beyond his fear of death, both for himself and for the loved ones he may lose in battle. The cycle of birth, death, and rebirth is governed by the law of karma, the idea that every action has consequences shaping the course of future lives. The soul's journey continues until it attains liberation, moksha, a state of union with the divine where it is freed from the cycle of rebirth. Understanding this cycle is key to understanding life's ultimate purpose, to realize one's divine nature and attain spiritual freedom. Action without attachment, the essence of karma yoga. In this section, Krishna once again returns to the theme of karma yoga, the path of selfless action. He explains that while knowledge of the self is essential, it must be paired with right action. The challenge, Krishna says, is not to abandon action, but to perform it without attachment to the fruits of the action. Krishna tells Arjuna, perform your duty with detachment. Do not be attached to the outcomes, for the results are not in your control. You can only control your actions, not the fruits of those actions. This teaching is one of the most important and widely applicable in the entire Gita. The world is full of distractions, and people often find themselves chasing after success, fame, or possessions. The pursuit of these external rewards can lead to frustration, as we cannot always control the outcomes of our efforts. Krishna encourages Arjuna to act with devotion to his duty, but without the ego's attachment to success or failure. By doing so, one can maintain peace of mind, even in the midst of life's trials. This principle of selfless action is a direct antidote to the ego-driven behaviors that often lead to suffering. When individuals perform actions solely for personal gain, they become trapped in a cycle of desire, craving, and dissatisfaction. On the other hand, when actions are performed with detachment and a sense of higher purpose, the individual achieves inner peace and spiritual growth. In real life, this teaching can be applied in countless scenarios. For instance, a student who studies not for grades or accolades, but because they genuinely seek knowledge, will find that their study becomes a source of joy rather than stress. Similarly, a person who works selflessly for the well-being of others, without seeking recognition or rewards, finds true fulfillment in the process rather than the end result. The importance of discipleship and surrender to the divine. Krishna now touches upon the importance of surrendering to the divine wisdom and accepting the guidance of a spiritual teacher. He advises Arjuna to approach a wise teacher who can lead him toward greater understanding. A true teacher, Krishna explains, is one who embodies the highest spiritual knowledge and can impart this wisdom to others. Krishna tells Arjuna, to gain knowledge of the self, one must approach a teacher with humility, surrender to the divine will, and be dedicated to the path of truth. This emphasizes the need for spiritual humility. In the process of seeking truth and wisdom, the ego must be set aside. Just as Arjuna surrenders to Krishna on the battlefield, so too must we surrender our individual desires and ego-driven motives in order to receive the true knowledge that will lead to liberation. The relationship between the disciple and the teacher is one of trust, reverence, and openness. Through this relationship, the wisdom of the eternal truth is passed on, guiding the seeker to a higher state of consciousness. Arjuna's willingness to listen to Krishna is the first step toward his transformation, and this openness to divine guidance is the foundation for all spiritual progress. The eternal law of the universe, the law of Dharma. Krishna also addresses the eternal laws of the universe, or Sanatana Dharma. He explains that these laws are timeless and unchanging, and that they govern every aspect of existence. Just as physical laws, like gravity, govern the material world, so too do moral and spiritual laws govern the universe. These laws are rooted in the nature of the soul and the divine order of the cosmos. Krishna tells Arjuna that understanding and aligning oneself with these universal laws is the key to spiritual success. By following one's dharma, one's duty according to their role in life, one is in harmony with the universe and moves closer to liberation. He says, it is better to do one's own duty imperfectly than to do another's duty perfectly. Follow your dharma, even if it seems difficult, for it will lead you to your highest good. This teaching speaks to the importance of staying true to one's path. Each person has a unique role in life, and it is important to embrace that role with integrity. By doing so, one aligns themselves with the divine will and contributes to the cosmic order. In everyday life, this could mean following one's heart, whether in choosing a career, forming relationships, or contributing to society. By staying true to oneself and one's purpose, one achieves fulfillment and peace. Understanding the three gunas, the forces of nature. Krishna introduces Arjuna to the concept of the three gunas, or qualities that govern human nature. These gunas, sattva, goodness, rajas, passion, and tamas, ignorance, determine the behavior and actions of all beings. Sattva represents purity, wisdom, and harmony. When predominated by sattva, a person acts with clarity, knowledge, and compassion. Rajas represents passion, desire, and activity. When rajas is dominant, a person is driven by ambition, craving, and restlessness. Tamas represents inertia, darkness, and ignorance. When tamas is predominant, a person is lethargic, confused, and trapped in delusion. Krishna explains that the balance of these three forces in a person's nature determines their actions and character. By cultivating sattva and reducing the influence of rajas and tamas, one can elevate their consciousness and become more attuned to divine wisdom. This teaching helps Arjuna and us understand why people behave the way they do. By recognizing the qualities that influence us, we can consciously work to transform our nature, moving from ignorance toward wisdom, from passion toward peace, and from darkness toward light. Thank you for listening, and please like the video and subscribe for more great upcoming content that will put you in top 1% people in the world.